In my life, I have been lucky or unlucky to find myself in faraway places that were dangerous. And I've learned to rely and listen to that sense when it tells you something's not right, to listen to it. When you're in the wilderness, you are no longer the top of the food chain. And I hate to say it, many times the most dangerous thing out there are other people. Okay, there we go. In December of 2005, I took my son on a fishing trip into Eagle Creek in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I remember it was a very cold day. And I got my son and said, hey, let's go hiking. Let's go hiking and fishing. I want to show you Eagle Creek. So we rented a boat out of Fontana Dam. But when in the wintertime, they lower the water levels of Lake Fontana, so you can't take a boat all the way up to it like you can in the summertime. So we had to park the boat here, walk over this little ridge line right next to the river, and come down in the first campsite. So this is where the encounter began. My son and I were walking over the ridge line from our boat where we parked it. Cold December day, and we come in to the campsite here on Eagle Creek, the first campsite. And there's someone in the campsite here next to the lake, well, next to the river at that time. And he was putting his tent together. So like you always do out in the wilderness, you just don't walk up on somebody unannounced. That's how people get hurt. So I had my son behind me, and as we got a little closer, I said, hey, we're going fishing, going up the stream a little bit. He said, hey, I'm just putting my stuff together, come on through. So no big deal, right? No big deal. Nothing particular spooky at this time. I'm just as alert as I always am. My son and I left, went up Eagle Creek for about an hour and a half. It was very cold. My son wanted to come back. So we turned around and came back early. When we got back to the campsite, we came across this man still putting his campsite together. It was a little weird that he hadn't gotten it put together in the hour and a half that we were gone. So I'm thinking, hey, it's probably a new tent, something I've had that, having a hard time put your tent together if you ain't got the instruction or something. Sometimes I guess it can be hard. So we just came, Tim struck up a conversation. So I remember asking the gentleman, I say, you need some help? And he was like, no, I got some new gear. I'm just trying to make sure everything's right, and just casual conversation. So as we sat there and talked, he began telling me the story of coming in to the national park through Bryson City and the road to nowhere, going up over high passes and snowdrifts. There was something that stood out about this guy that I never forgot him. So as being the nice Appalachian that I am, I said, I know you want to finish your hike, but we have a boat. If you want to come with us, you're welcome. And without hesitation, this man said, yes, I want to come. I shouldn't have. My son was with me, but I said, we've got a boat just right over the ridge line there. If you want to come with us, we'll take you across. I did not expect him to do that. But without hesitation, he said yes. Like he was almost desperate to get out of here. So I was like, I was really hoping you would have turned my invitation down, but he didn't. So he got his stuff together a lot faster than he put it out, for sure. Put it in his bag, and we started walking back over the ridgeline to our boat. If you know anything about that area, that trail that comes in, there's a cliff that goes right into Eagle Creek. 45-foot drop down to the water. If you fall there, you're probably not going to be okay. So at this point, we've gotten his stuff together, and we're walking up the trail to where my boat is over the ridge line. Something is not feeling right. Not feeling right. And he's behind us right here at this point. So as I approached the trail marker here, it says campsite 90. I turned, looked at him and said, "You go ahead of us." Now, what told me to ask this man to walk in front of us along that cliff? I've thought about that a long time. There was something about the situation that didn't make sense. Didn't make sense. Because I knew that this trail right up here, there's a steep drop off onto rocks into the creek. Right now, looking at this cliff, you know, it's intimidating, right? You don't want to fall down this. You'll fall into the lake. But keep in mind, during the winter drawdown of the lake goes down another 65 feet. So right over this edge here, and it gets a little steeper right there, the creek comes right by this bank, and another 65-foot drop is pure rocks down there. So if you fall down this, you're going over that edge onto those rocks. That's where I did not want him behind us. Just one of those things. Trust the instincts in the back of your head. Trust it. The feeling on the back of your neck. Say it all the time. If something doesn't seem right, trust it and take appropriate action. He said, okay. So we got in the boat, went back to the marina. I went in to turn in my gear, said goodbye, never saw him again.
A confessed serial killer who pleaded guilty to killing 2 hikers from Henderson County is scheduled to
2010, I'm watching television, and they were talking about the murders that had happened just here in Pisgah National Forest, just about a mile and a half from here, as the crow flies. It's not very far. And the 2 people had gone missing, and they had caught the guy who had done it. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I remember I was sitting on the couch, and the picture of this guy pops up on the screen, and I went, wow, that's the guy I ran into on Eagle Creek. Some people call him the National Forest Killer. Is he the same man that my son and I encountered on Eagle Creek in December of 2005?
Nestled in the heart of the countryside, Stonebrook Lodge is your home away from home. From our warm stone entrance and cozy dining room to comfortable suites and relaxing amenities, every detail is designed with your family in mind. Unwind in your room, soak in the tub, or splash in our indoor pool. And when you're ready to explore, the charm of our local town awaits. Stonebrook Lodge, where family memories are made. Book your stay today at stonebrooklodge.com.
Hey y'all, we're here at Fontana Village, about to go out on Miss Hazel with Carl Sutter. We're going to talk a little bit about Eagle Creek and show you exactly where the encounter happened. So come along with us and see the beauty of Lake Fontana. Here we come. It's where it happened. A lot of times you'll come out here and there's nobody else out here, and you'll watch that boat leave, and you know you're by yourself. It's a good feeling. It's exciting. You know, it's you against your own self, basically. So this is the spot where I believe with 95% certainty that I encountered Gary Michael Hilton, the so-called serial killer responsible about 4 deaths, probably more, in western North Carolina, Florida, and Georgia. I believe I encountered him putting his campsite together right here. And it's a day, it was 18 years ago, but just the feeling of that encounter has stayed with me for all those years. And I did not know that a lady had disappeared in Bryson City around the time that I had my encounter with this man. I feel guilty not coming forward sooner, but I had no idea that there was still a missing lady here. But I'm going to try to do everything I can to help put an end to this investigation, if I can. I'm standing with Eugene Schuler. He is the owner and operator of Fly Fishing the Smokies, one of the oldest, if not the oldest.
My grandfather started guiding in 1946 when he come home from World War II. And my dad guided part-time. My grandpa did it full-time until he passed away.
He's right here in Bryson City, North Carolina. We're standing on Deep Creek, and this is Tom's Branch Falls. If you've ever seen a photo of Deep Creek, a lot of them will have this falls in the background. It's beautiful. And from what Eugene's telling me, this section right through here, if you know how to do it,
That's right.
is loaded with fish. Eugene and I have been talking, and I was telling him a story about my experience with the National Park serial killer. Believe it or not, he's had an experience along the same lines, and the similarities of our experience with this fella is striking. Can you tell us a little bit how it started?
So I was guiding summer 2005, I was guiding a lady and her 2 teenage kids. So I took them to the Jenkins Fields. It's about 1.5 miles up from here. Jenkins Fields is kind of where Deep Creek and Indian Creek is after the split, and there's a loop trail that cuts back in between the two. It's kind of like a nice little hike back there, but that section's, it's out of the way, it's kind of private, it's got some good fishing on it, but it lays pretty flat, so it's easy to get teenagers and a lady up through there without, a lot of treacherous wading or anything like that. So we're up in there fishing, having a pretty good day. We're getting towards about halfway of our day. We're doing a full day, so about halfway up. We're sitting there and I start getting this feeling somebody's watching me, just kind of this weird gut kind of, if you ever get around, you're like, there's somebody behind me kind of thing. We go on up a little bit, keep fishing, fish on around the little bit of the curve up through there, start getting up towards the bridge where you can come back out and that loop trail comes out where you can actually see the other side. We get up there and I notice a fella standing there over in the bramble watching us. He was standing kind of back in the brambles, so it wasn't like ducked down hiding, he was just standing back in things, she didn't really notice him. Kind of odd at first. I was like, all right, it's an older fella, looked like he's by himself. We get people watching. I mean, we're in Deep Creek. I mean, you get people utilizing the creeks and things up here all the time. And so you get people in the audience watching. So, well, in a few minutes, he rolls his pants legs up, didn't take his shoes off, but rolls his pants legs up, wades across the creek over to us. And I thought, that's a little odd. And when he gets closer, you can really see that look in those eyes. And I thought, all right, I'm not liking this guy. So he comes over to us, he starts talking to us, and seems friendly and harmless enough at first, sort of just that creepy thing. But the guy, the whole time I'm talking to him, he keeps doing this, Joe. He keeps trying to get around behind me.
Yeah.
And as he's talking, he just kind of meanders around. And I'm like, all right, I already got these creeper flags going on here. I'm not letting this guy get behind me, so I'm turning. It's like 2 boxers facing off in a ring trying to get an angle. And that's kind of the way I started feeling about it. And I thought, this is kind of weird. So he keeps talking. He talked to the lady and the kids, and I'm still trying to work with him. He's asking all kind of questions. I was like, buddy, we're on a guided trip. I was trying to be as polite as I could. I said, look, we're happy to teach you. I've got a shop here. We'll, or in a guide service. I said, we're more than happy to take you fly fishing and show you how. But, I've got to spend the time with these guys here. They paid for my time today. So if you don't mind, I'm going to help these guys. And, you have a good day. It's like, I'll just hang around and watch. And I thought, oh man, come on, just go. So he keeps lingering around, still talking. You try to talk to those kids. You try to get in between me and the mom or those kids, or still trying to get behind me at times. It's just like you're posturing the whole time. So it's kind of creeped out. And I was like, look, I think we load up, move, and go somewhere else, get away from this guy. She's like, yeah, he's kind of creeping me out. I was like, can we use my keys? I said, y'all go in and get my vehicle. I said, wait on me. I said, I'll grab our gear. I said, y'all take off. Let's start gathering up their stuff. A couple little bags that they had some of their little backpack things they had, and I picked those up in the rods. And I said, well, friend, we're out of here. We have a good day. Well, where are you headed? I said, man, I'm not sure. Somewhere we can, be by ourselves, and do some fishing and stuff where we, kind of focus on.
Kind of like a subtle hint.
It was trying that southern manners of, hey, I'm giving you the version of bless your heart, but get the heck out of here.
Appalachian friendly.
That's it. Yeah, definitely, 100%. And he wouldn't take the hint. He was like, well, I'll just go tag along with you. And so I was like, look, buddy, that's, I've tried to be nice to you and let you know we want to be by ourselves, left alone, I don't mean anything by it, but how about you just going about your business? We're going about ours. Well, he literally squares off to me and he goes, how about I don't? And I mean, every flag.
Just like that.
Just like that. Just like that.
I mean, that.
And he was about you and I's distance. He was like, how about I don't? And I, you know, of course I was on guard then. I mean, I'm in my late 20s at that point. You know, I'm still a kid by some people's standards. I mean, some not. You know, it depends on where you look at it. But
And I tell you, that hair on my arm.
man, mine does. And I even start recanting this stuff, you know, 'cause not knowing then who this guy was. But, you know, later on, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But hey, when he did that, how about I don't? I was like, look, buddy, I'm not looking for trouble out there. We're just wanting to be by ourselves, do some fishing, and go on our own thing, man. You're going about yours. He said, I'm not going anywhere. He said, I'll go wherever you do. I said, you can get back across through yonder. I said, you ain't getting nowhere near them. I said, I know that's what you do. And he was like, I ain't going nowhere. I said, get across there. So we kind of, voices got louder, and we kind of did some arguing, some cussing back and forth a little bit. He starts laughing at me, and I was like, laugh all you want, buddy, you're getting out of here. And I'm trying to back up a little bit from him at that point, and he'd just keep closing. And I mean, when I'd back up, he'd scoot. He kept that same distance right there. And I thought, man, this is way out of hand further than I've ever wanted something to be.
It didn't have, yeah.
No, there was no precursor to doing something to cause this guy this. I thought, man, this guy's a nut job and I'm in danger bad. And I didn't have anything with me, but I thought, man, there's enough creek rocks laying around here and I'm young enough, surely I can whack him with one of these and get out here and run.
Yeah.
So finally, you know, I was yelling at him at that point, get pretty loud. And I'm sure if there's anybody walking by, it would attract some attention apparently, because I mean, we weren't that far off the gravel road there. So he was like, you know what? He said, I'm gonna let you walk away. He said, you don't know how lucky you are. He said, you really don't know.
Here at Fly Fishing the Smoky shop in Bryson City with Eugene Schuler. He always has some great fly selections, some great stuff, and he's a wealth of knowledge, not only for fishing in the Smokies, but for just the history. His family goes back many generations.
So finally, you know, I was yelling at him at that point. I was like, mister, shut up, get out of here. And as he starts, I was like, I'm not giving you my back. I said, you get back across that creek. I said, I ain't turning my back on you. I said, you go back across that creek where you come from.
Yeah, you didn't want him in your
No, heck no. And so he backed up, he went out in the creek, and he started standing in the middle of the creek just dying laughing. Just absolutely laughing like it's the funniest thing he ever saw. And I thought, what is wrong with this guy? So I chalked that back in my head for quite some time. And this is the summer of '05. Well, at the time, we didn't know there was a guy loose in the mountains roaming around killing people. I didn't find out for, I guess it was 2 years later or so.
When was the time? When was the time you realized that you had come in contact, most likely, with the guy responsible for murder?
When they arrested him for killing that young lady named Meredith, that it was on the news. You know, they had arrested this guy there was a missing girl. You'd hear about missing hikers and things in the park, like a John and Irene older couple from, I think, Brevard area, somewhere over in Pisgah. Yeah. They had been missing. Then you heard about a missing girl from Bryson City, or had been through here from Bryson City. That was in like the winter of 2005.
Yeah.
And I didn't connect that might have been that creepy guy. I didn't think about that one, you know, at that point. Then that John and Irene lady that got to missing, you know, didn't connect this guy to that. Yeah. But later on, as he got that girl out in Georgia, I think it was North Georgia or something, or South Carolina somewhere, but her name was Meredith, I remember that. But they were on the news about this with this guy. I was washing dishes in the kitchen. I'll never forget, the hair on my head stood up. That's when I realized, oh my God, I could have been one of them. My wife was like, that's the guy from Deep Creek. I know it is. She was like, you're crazy. And I said, no, I'm not. That's the dude from Deep Creek. So I took off, went in there in the living room, rewound back, looked at that, and I was like, that's him. That's the guy, 100%. That's the guy. That's those eyes. That's that face. That's that man.
If you were to go back, and my own personal opinion with my experience, and it sounds exactly the same way.
Right.
This fella was searching.
He was hunting.
He was looking for someone that he could take advantage of.
Right. He was.
And he came up to you, and the way you behaved and the way you presented yourself, it made him go, this isn't the time.
Yeah, man, that's just creepy. I mean, it's so creepy.
The similarities between his story and mine are kind of unnerving. You've heard my story. But to be honest with you, uncovering new information during an ongoing investigation is quite difficult. We've talked to many different people, but those many different people don't want to talk on camera.
After the camera stopped rolling, the investigation took an unexpected turn, and we believe we may have uncovered some clues in the story Gary Michael Hilton first told Joe all those years ago. Follow along our investigation as we unravel the details and dive deeper into this mystery in Season 2.
Here we are, Bryson City Brewing in Bryson City, North Carolina, right at the entrance of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. You find yourself here, do yourself a solid, come by here and get you either the Naughty Blonde or the Leaf Drop Amber. You will not regret it. Also, their food is fantastic and the atmosphere is phenomenal. It's perfect for the Smoky Mountains.